The anti-trans rhetoric from conservative education ministers from across the country has finally made its way to Ontario. And now here's the thing. We need to actually break down what Lecce said and not jump to conclusions. Don't get me wrong. What he is saying here in this public statement is anti-trans rhetoric. But unlike in Nova Scotia and in Saskatchewan, where they are passing new policies in order to out kids, that is not what is inherently happening in Ontario, at least not yet. Because Lecce also said that schools should be safe for all children and that teachers and school boards need to take into account home environments. The reason that the blanket policies that were passed in Saskatchewan and Nova Scotia are harmful is because you don't know if a parent at home is violently anti-trans or not. So when a child asks you to use their preferred name but not to tell their parents, you respect that because you don't know what that child's home life is like. I have had multiple students like that where I use their preferred pronoun and preferred name in class, but on report cards I don't. Why? It is to keep the child safe. And Lecce's note that there are going to be exceptional circumstances or situations of potential harm to the child, and we need to be mindful of that. That is very, very important. And while, yes, I still do think that him saying that parents need to be made aware of pronoun changes is anti-trans rhetoric, the way that this government is approaching it is arguably the best way that they can be approaching it in general, from the socially conservative perspective. He also goes on to say that he does really believe that parents need to be fully aware and fully engaged. And Lecce makes the point that parents love and care for their kids, but unfortunately I can tell you as an educator, every once in a while, you don't see that being true. I highly doubt that the Ford government comes out with a policy similar to what we saw in Saskatchewan or Nova Scotia. For two reasons. One, I think they know that it would be politically bad for them. And two, this government, for the most part, when they can, and it doesn't involve budgets, tend to make policy choices that are in favor of what the current science is saying. Unless that's environmental science, at which point Doug Ford doesn't really care. But in a situation like this, there's no budget to cut, there is no money exchanging hands, so I trust the Ford government to, for the most part, make the correct choice. But we do need to be vigilant of when our governments say stuff like this, because it can very easily spin out of control and become very dangerous, because even this statement alone does bring its own level of danger.